we'll come back later and address that.
The main takeaway is that once we get through the road repairs, and if we're not road repairs, rather than let that just grow and wait for a pothole, use it for something else.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we did, which a lot of people didn't necessarily follow, was that before we put the concrete roads in, a year before that, I spent a lot of time planning everything that had to go in before the roads. Because you can't put the roads in and then say, oh, you know what, we should run that water line underneath. You can't do that. That's why we had to move the mailboxes first. That's why we tried to figure out where to put them. And there's a lot of preliminary stuff you got to do because you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Once that concrete's down, we're not sawing it. So kind of the more forward thinking we get, I think it's helpful as we get further down the road. You know, that's why we're doing a lot of fire hydrant work. And we're trying to look now at putting a new water main. And you know, it is inevitable we're going to have to put a 12-inch main down High Ridge. We're going to have to put a 12-inch main down before the concrete roads go in. Whether that's next year or the year after, we'll talk about it. But I kind of like the idea of working down on the shores, entrance down there, trying to get that lane fixed, trying to get the mailbox. We know we've got to move it. Anyway, that's something to think about. So that, I believe, other than, I think the only thing left, Linda butchered this again by not putting it on one page. But anyway, the CapEx projects, real quick, we have been retrofitting this side of town, making it legal, making it up to code, because it was pretty pathetic that in this entire part of town there were only 3 fire hydrants. It was even more pathetic that the closest fire hydrant to a lot of people's houses was in Sunrise Bay. It was on the other side of a barricade that you couldn't drive past. That was ridiculous. So we've been going through and putting in fire hydrants in this part of town. I think Elizabeth, there's one I think next door to you, right? Yes. And, yeah. So we've been going back through and retrofitting the fire hydrants in. And we're down to we've got about 2 left. We're missing one that's going to be difficult because the water main isn't big enough, and I'm working on it. But the next one is there's only one street in this whole city that has no fire hydrants. There's one city that has 0. And that street is Parkwood. Parkwood has no fire hydrants. It's got the main, but it's got no hydrant. So we need to have a hydrant at Parkwood up across from the sewer plant, and we need to have an isolation valve there. We need to be able to isolate that part of Parkwood from the rest of town. Okay, so part of the fire hydrant project is to put this fire hydrant in, which will basically wind up the project. We'll now be all legal here. Everybody should be happy. Everybody in this city should now have a fire hydrant within 500 feet. Standard is 500 feet away. That's what you hope to shoot for. And I think it's been a great project. I'm very proud of the fact that you know, we're fixing stuff that we didn't inherit, or that we didn't cause. We inherited this. 50 years ago when they laid these streets out, they didn't put any hydrants in. That's okay. That's what we were in the county 50 years ago. There was no city. So that's that. The big cost here is the Stowe lift station. The Stowe lift station, we have had massive problems with the Stowe lift station. We probably spent $10,000 last year on repairs at the Stowe lift station. The Stowe lift, if you went in the shores, what a lot of people don't realize is, with the exception of the first 4 houses on Melody Lane, every single house in the shores goes to that lift station. Even the ones on Kieran, they all go to the Stowe lift station. Everything goes there. The problem with that lift station is, when the developer made the town, they didn't extend the 3-phase power. It's single phase. It's low voltage, which means the pumps we have are small, which means the pumps keep melting. The pumps keep screwing up. They're undersized. There's nothing we can do about it because of the power problem. The problem also is the lift station keeps malfunctioning because it's got floats in it, and because we keep having problems with people putting stuff in the lift station. When that lift station malfunctions, it overflows in people's houses. We've had at least 4 of these happen. We've actually participated with people putting in check valves, okay, where Sam has put them in at the owner's expense because we told him the lift station keeps killing itself. That's that red light that happens on Stone Lane. I cannot tell you how many times at 1 o'clock in the morning I've stood in sewage relaying the controls, trying to get the damn floats to come on, because it overflows. And it overflows there. When it overflows there, it overflows in the house. So the Stone lift station needs to be fixed. We need to build a new lift station. Now, when we rebuild it, we're going to put three-phase power there. We're going to put the right motors in. We're going to put a transformer in, which has three-phase power. And that means we can now use the same pumps that we use everywhere else. Everybody knows Shotnick, the lift station at the end of, down here on High Ridge. So you go down High Ridge, big concrete one down there. Practically 3/4 of the town goes through that lift station. It doesn't fail because it's got three-phase power, because we have bigger pumps there, because the power is consistent. That lift station doesn't fail. So we've got to get stable power at that lift station. So $40,000 is a lot of money to spend on a lift station. That's to make it brand new. It's to put solid state pressure switches in it. In other words, instead of having floats like the Egyptians did that tells when to turn the water on and off, there's electronic switches. The same switches we use to tell the wells that the pumps are full, the tanks are full. These electronic relays. Relays open and close, which tell the pumps to turn on and off. We're going to use the same technology. So it's a big expense.
Has the council approved that?
No. These are just potential projects. So when it comes to CapEx, I've already talked to Sam. I'm trying to come up with some ideas to give everybody a lot of time to think about it. Because usually the CapEx is expensive. The other thing dealing with CapEx is we're trying to fix the sewer plant. What we're trying to do with the sewer plant is we know that down the road, some point down the road, the sewer plant is going to have to be expanded. It's a given. Right now we're running about 40% capacity. We're peaking around 50. It's not imminent, but we don't want to do stuff when it's imminent. So part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to now map out the layout. Where should things be? So part of that layout is we've got to realign the fence. We've got to move the fence forward. We've got to get the storage unit in the right place. What we want to do is we want to move the storage building that we have here that sits at the water plant that's not being used. They want to use that as an office down at the sewer plant. They want to be able to go down there and actually work on stuff. So part of this would be to move that down there next to the sewer plant so that our water and sewer guys have the ability to actually have a place to sit. Right now, when Sam is doing bids or he's working on stuff, he sits in his truck. Well, that's not very effective. I'd rather have him sit where he can sit on a computer, or where he can go to a whiteboard, or we can look at a map, or he's got a drawing of the water sewer system, okay? So that's kind of what, it's part of moving toward a public works setup. Because right now we don't have that. So that's a multi-step process. I will take everybody to the sewer plant at some point and show you the Rube Goldberg creation that's down there with power lines coming off of daisy chaining off of poles, and we have our chlorine contact chamber. We have the chlorine cylinders are in an outhouse. They are in a porta-john that has been reconditioned. That's where our chlorine sits in because we don't have a building for it. So it's a mess. So that's what that project is there. It's a little bit nebulous because we're just trying to fix, the whole thing needs to be fixed. All right, potential town projects. Part of the City Hall improvements are, we've talked about this for over a year. Linda's done a lot of work on it. We've never been able to figure out, we got to get a door. That's not a legal door. This is a public building. That's not an ADA door. It's not a crash door. It's not a commercial door. It's a door for a house. We need to have a glass door that has Town of Lakewood Village. We need to be a real town. This is City Hall. We need to have a door, and we need to have it be an ADA door. We don't meet the fire code. That's not a legal door. Neither is that, neither is that. We don't meet the fire code at all. We need to. So we got to do it. So let's pull the trigger and fix the door. I already talked to you about the drainage improvement. We have to fix Peninsula. We have to stop the water from cascading across the street, otherwise we're going to have a road failure. It's undermining the road, and the road is key. So that's the list of CapEx projects. Over the course of the next month, if you can think of others, let me know. I'll bounce them off Sam. I'll try and get some estimates. If you want to talk to Sam, you can always talk to Sam as well. It's up to you. But if you have other ideas, that's fine. These are just kind of the ones I've came up with, just kind of brainstorming. Now, the way that it works, how we do it is that if you were to say, yes, these are good projects, or we want to allocate, let's say we want to do the first two, then we put $50,000 in the budget. When it came time to do the project, I would bring to you a cost estimate and say, here's the actual cost of the project from the vendor, and then you approve $37,412, whatever it is. So I don't just go off and spend the $40,000. I bring you the actual numbers. Okay? But again, I'm not doing that unless we agree that that's a worthwhile project. I'm not going to waste my time if you zero that line out. Then it's done. Okay? So that's kind of the big picture. So what I request of the council is if there are things you want me to look up, if you want to know, hey, where did I get that number from? Or, is that number, what were you thinking when you did that number? If there's something that you want to ask me about, I'm around. I'm done teaching. I'm here till October. So I don't have to go back. I have the summer off. So let me know. So I will, basically, and then, so what I would like to do is next month when we come, I want to talk numbers. I want to actually get some numbers. I want you to say, I think 7's a good number, I think 12's a bad number, I think 4's a good number. I want to get some closure. Okay? Because now you have all the information. So now we're going to start making decisions. There's no reason to table anything. We're going to make decisions. Now, we don't have to approve it. In fact, we're not going to approve it next month. But we're going to get some closure on good numbers and bad numbers. And then we'll tee it up, and it will be approved at the August meeting. We tee it up, and that's where we have to take it out, because now the calendar kicks in. We have to approve it, and then we got to do the tax rate, and so the calendar kicks in. Okay, but that's the idea. Any questions? Nope.
I'm assuming that there's a plan to kind of clean a couple things up and just resend it out, right?
What are you holding? I'm sorry.
The budget. I mean, the one that was sent out earlier, I mean, there's a couple of them where...
Oh yeah, we messed up on it. The print messed up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
So, Mayor, thank you very much. You did your job really well. I appreciate it. I think it's a phenomenal starting point. What I want to do is address the rest of the council and say, we need to get budget workshops. I know last year when we tried to do it, there was a lot of pushback. I truly believe that we've got a good starting point here, but we need some budget workshops to start making some improvements to get the budget where it needs to be. Some of those has to be with getting citizen input to find out where you guys want to spend the money. And some of them have to be with the things that are, obviously missing from this budget that I think, may need to be discussed here. So I'll kind of raise it up to get some discussion here, but do you guys want to start meeting on a weekly basis? Do you want to start? What I don't want to do is I don't want to wait till August. I think we should kind of jump on this now that Mark has put the whole thing together for us. Probably have everything we need to at least get started. Maybe a new printout. I agree with that. But other than that, do you guys want to start meeting weekly? Pick a weekend?
So I guess my concern, Dan, is that I think we should discuss the budget on a regular meeting when everybody's here, and it's a regular scheduled meeting when everybody knows exactly when it is, they know what the time is, they know what day it is, they know everything, so they should come in a regular meeting. I think it's weird to say the budget's important, so we're going to schedule it on an off day and an off time. Why don't we do it right here in front of everybody at the regular meeting in front of the cameras live? Let's do it right here in front of everybody rather than picking a weird time.
So we can.
That seems to be counterintuitive.
If you remember, we tried to do that last year. It didn't work out very well, right? So what I'm suggesting is that we probably got, pick a number, 10, 15 hours of the work ahead of us. we can do it in the regular meeting, take everything else off the agenda, and just do budget workshops. I'm good with that. Set the expectations, 4-hour meetings, pick it, maybe we can get done by August. But I think there's some tough decisions that need to be made here. I think that we've got to kind of go through those things. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe, we do what we did last year, and we just kind of accept whatever's put in front of us, but some of us want to go through these numbers, and I think we need a budget workshop. And number one,
I don't think everybody accepted what was put in front of them, Dan. Why do you say something like
I didn't
that?
finish my sentence.
Why do you say something insulting to the council members?
Because
That's derogatory.
you just insulted me. Now, let's just finish this up.
No, I didn't insult you. That's derogatory to say that they accepted it without looking at it.
Well, most towns
It's
do.
derogatory. Everybody looked at it. They looked at it. We changed some numbers.
We changed a couple, we changed
We
three.
changed some numbers. So don't put in these little commentaries, these little comments that
Can I-
denigrate the council.
Thank you very much. So what I'm suggesting is that we hold a couple forums for citizens to come in, gives them some time to look at the budget, and ask the question strictly on where they think money should be spent. Let's have a couple of those, maybe 2 or 3, and give people the opportunity to come in.
We have an opportunity right now at a council meeting. We're going to post a council meeting. Everybody can come to a council meeting. That's when we're going to get right in front of everybody.
You're proposing the council meeting as a regular I'm just trying to get clear. I understand you were proposing extra meetings
Extra.
in between the council.
To get
And
the
Mark,
budget.
are you saying that just do it all at a regular council meeting?
Yeah, what I did, normally we don't start the budget this early. I made the budget early so that we could have plenty of time at the regular scheduled council meeting. We've had the second Thursday for 41 years. That's been our regular scheduled day.
How long does it take to discuss the entire budget? You're saying?
It takes about 2 hours.
No.
Yeah.
So take a
It
look
takes
at
about 2 hours for us to discuss it when we typically, Dan, I've been doing this for 10 years. You've done it one time.
If you take a look at what other towns do.
That we're not other towns. We have a budget that was right there.
So best practices from other towns is they get citizen input. And over a period of time, you bring the stuff in. And when you take a look at the citizen input, you may be surprised that some of these things may not rank in importance. So what you gotta figure out is, as our taxes have been continuing to rise, we've got more money, the question is, where do we spend it? If we're not getting citizen input and giving them the ability to speak up and do those things. So the question is, can we do all that in a regular meeting, or do we need multiple? I'm suggesting that not everybody can make a Thursday evening meeting, so perhaps we need a weekend, maybe we need a different weekday, maybe we need to switch around just to get the citizen input. When you get the citizen input, you can say, hey, this is what the town folk think we should be spending our money on. And does that compare to the budget? Hopefully it does, but we know that there's a couple big things missing out of here that some people may want to say, hey, we want these priorities in there. If you can't get the citizen input, whatever way you do it, either have a meeting or send a survey or encourage whatever it is, but what we need to do is find out, because we're representatives of people. And
Do
that's what we need to do.
do other council members have a view on, because you have the experience, you've been here on the council for some years, you have some idea how long this takes, particularly if there is more citizen,
We typically do the budget in about 2 hours. It takes about 2 hours to do the
If you
budget.
have more citizen, more.
Well, no,
residents-
we have citizen input. People usually give us input at the council meeting. But again, if you go back and if you were to look at the numbers, 80% of those numbers are the same. The electricity for this building, pest control. There's only a handful of numbers that are truly where I can say, Becky, you want to do this or you want to do that? I mean, are we going to pay the TCQ licensing fees? Yes. Are we going to chlorinate the water? Yes. Are we going to... 80% of those are, now, if you say, well, I think the licensing fee should be $500, I can tell you, look, it's $600. That's why I put $600 in, because that's the fee that they charge us. So most of the stuff is straightforward. What was our utility expense? It was, for the city hall, it was $4,800. Then it was $4,802. Then it was
I'm just
$4,900.
aware how long
Yeah,
these
but
things.
Martin actually making the comment I was going to make, that, especially in business, and this effectively is a business, 85% of the budget is virtually fixed.
Yeah.
There's the things that really are the points of discussion are things like capital projects and major revenue projects, some of which may even get to the point where they could be reclassified as capital projects as size. So those are the kind of things that could be discussed, at a meeting. And I'm not putting you down there because
There's a fundamental thing that you may be missing there, is a lot of people are very disgruntled with the budget the way it is. Some people are perfectly happy with it.
I've never
and
had
somebody
one
are-
person tell me that. Why do you make statements like a lot of people? Why do you make big
If they're-
sweeping generalizations?
So, if
These
you,
may be some of the things that we were questioning about. There may be other things. I think the meeting has to be narrow for people who, like me, who are genuinely ignorant, and I mean that in the best possible sense. I mean, just don't know, have not been educated in a budget, that we don't know which 85% is fixed.
Right, and that's why we're going to go over it, so.
But that takes time, I'm just saying.
Right, and that's what we're going, so
That
when
has to be done in advance.
we come next time, everybody will have looked at the numbers, everybody will look at them, and if somebody has a question, this is when we go through them. But I've done this now 10 times. This is my 10th budget, and I've done all 10 of them. I've always prepared the budget here. So when we prepare the budget, we put the numbers in. If Elizabeth says, I think the fence permits, they were 300, then they were 250, then they were 300, I think 400 is a good number. We make it 400. I mean, we don't have a 20-minute discussion over what's the right number. Is it really, and Ed doesn't say, well, I want 350. It doesn't work like that.
If you involve the general public,
But I mean, there isn't a lot of, there's not a lot of debate over
we're not,
a lot of the numbers. The
This is
numbers
not
are
the issue,
pretty
guys.
What is
straightforward.
the issue, Dan?
the issue is that you've got roads failing. People are getting very irritated that there's no money put aside. There's $0 to eventually start paving your roads. Now, there's a lot of reasons given why.
We have what years
But
in
the
the budget
reality
already?
is, your taxes are up almost 70% in 6 years. So in 6 years, you've taken in 70% more revenue. The problem is, you're spending 70% more revenue. And we have a spending problem, we don't have a tax problem.
We don't have, look,
We
Dan,
have a-
we don't have any kind of a problem.
So what happens is that when
No, Dan,
when the
look, the
people that
question
feel this
was,
way,
do you want to have
go ahead.
special meetings or not?
What happens is those
Okay?
things
This
are
isn't
big
about you
numbers.
discussing
They're
what
not
you think
little
is
numbers.
going on with the budget.
So with the big
Okay.
numbers, when they affect it, they affect all
All
the
right,
other
Dan,
ones.
that's enough.
And I think that's the,
That's
I think
enough.
that's the
Can I
clear-
suggest a
Okay, that's
compromise?
enough. Look, we gotta get back on schedule here, okay?
Can I suggest a compromise?
Look, here's what's gonna happen, okay? If you wanna have a special meeting, you're a council member, you can get 3 other members and you can call a special meeting. You did that last time, you can do that if you want, okay? What I'm saying is,
That was
we've
the
had
topic of discussion.
one,
Until you cut it
we've
out.
had one discussion so far about the budget. We have another one next month. We'll see how far we get next month, because we still have 3 more months to do the budget. That's why I started it early. So let's have another meeting next month. Let's see how far we get. And if we don't get to a sufficient spot where the council decides, hey, we're not getting closure fast enough, that we won't be able to do it next month because we need to pass it in 2 more months, we need to pass it, then the council will decide, hey, we need to have a special session. But it's premature to start scheduling special sessions when we haven't even had the initial discussions yet.
No,
Okay.
people have a voice.
Well,
need
then
to-
they may do that the month after, if we don't
Yeah,
get
I
far enough.
The amount of phone calls and emails I'm getting, they want their voice heard now.
They
So, I
can
mean,
come to a
Meeting
meeting right
people.
now. People can come right now, people can send emails, now the budget is out.
Okay,
People walked out
okay.
there in this tonight's budget.
I mean, everybody just walked out when we got to the budget.
It sounds like the other council members haven't kicked in much, so it sounds like you don't want to discuss it prior. So the other thing I would suggest, if we're not going to have any official meetings, then can we at least the next agenda, can we trim it down to just the budget? So that we can spend the entire time on the budget? So we don't spend 2-3 hours on other things.
I don't know what the agenda is.
Well, that's what my ask is, if we're not going to have a meeting on the budget, go through details, can we do our best to shrink the next meeting and just talk about the budget?
Typically, in the month of July, there's usually not a lot going on.
That's my point.
So based historically, there's some minor issues that we have to do dealing with, like tonight, with the DCAD, and there's some, typically some stuff. But I can't tell you, there's not gonna be a variance request or something might come up. But I don't anticipate, we're not gonna do any ordinances, are we?
We might have something on there.
We might have a discussion only for the nuisance ordinance.
Yeah,
but-
at least start laying groundwork for it.
But I don't think it's gonna be a 12-item agenda. It should be 3 or 4. But, no, I agree. The lion's share of it is gonna be the budget, for sure. Okay, so that ends the regular agenda. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna convene into executive session. So in accordance with the Texas Government Code 551051, the town council recess executive session, discuss the following: 55107112, consultation with attorney on the matter which is the duty of the attorney.
Andy's
To the
here.
governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct, State Bar, clearly conflicts with the chapter, role of mayor, town administrator, town secretary, town attorney. So we're gonna go into executive session now and talk with Andy. There is, there's no action item that's gonna come out of this. This is just Andy giving us legal advice. So there is no action item coming out of that. I don't think there's any staff comments.
I don't, well,
Yeah, can we just do staff comments now?
sure.
Is that okay?
Okay with me? I don't want you guys to stick around. We're gonna go back and talk.
Staff comments.
I only printed out one, I can show y'all, and then I can leave this out if y'all want to look at it. When we go into executive session, I have the map of our new precinct. It shows our precinct number and what the new voting lines look like.
Oh, good. Perfect.
And then I had one item, Ed and I met with Todd Strauss and Joe, as a bird,
City engineer.
City, the town is here. And so we went around town, showing the new water plant improvements, the activity going on with the sewer plant. Also primarily discuss roads, so we drove to town. And like you mentioned earlier, possibly trying to figure out things that we can do early geotech, things like that. So they're not really formally tasked with anything, but other than to come back with kind of a plan that we can.
What things can we pick off early?
Yeah, are there things we can do early, or, start kind of like groundwork for that?
Okay.
More to come on that in the future.
Mayor, if we're gonna go to executive session, we need to read that again, because we want that, take another one out of order.
All right, so now we're going to adjourn into executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code 551001, the town and the council recess into session, close the meeting, discuss the following. 55107112, consultation with attorney on a matter which is due to the attorney of the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter regarding the roles of the mayor, council members, town administrator, town secretary, and the town attorney himself. Okay, so we're going to go into executive session now. Thanks everybody for coming, driving home safely.
Before you leave, take some cake.
Take some cake. I got none of it.
We had to,
It's my birthday cake.